How's it going, Francis?
Oh, not too bad. Not too bad at all, Catherine. How are you?
Oh, really well. It's why I'm wearing my puffer jacket. It's very cold here, but it's a classic Australian winter. The skies are blue and the sun is out. Even
Mm,
but yeah, it's very, very cold.
yeah.
So, but
Uh,
yeah,
I've always thought it's always warm in Australia, and the sun is always out. Uh, because obviously people have all these stories about Australia. They've come there for holiday. So it's interesting to learn that, it's actually been cold today in Australia.
well, being as you know, being a dual citizen, I'm a Brit. I was born in the UK, and we came out here as ten pound poms. I remember well the English weather, and
Mm,
I remember the snow. I remember how the rain. I remember the dark days.
mm,
In winter here, it doesn't mean we don't have, because it's overcast. It's
mm-hmm.
actually overcast today, but
Yeah.
there's blue sky coming through, so that gives you an indication of where the day's going.
Mm-hmm.
But our winters here, this is one of they call the Australian light a photographer's dream. They call them light chasers. Photographers love coming here for the Australian light. But when I spent a year in New York, and because I was on the Northern Hemisphere, I was where you are, I was on that hemisphere. I loved it. Oh, it was so gentle. The
Mm,
light
mm, mm.
it was kissing my English skin, whereas the light in Australia is, when you come here, which I'm sure
Yeah.
you will discover for yourself.
It's beautiful. It's real. The sun is real.
Yes, yes,
I think you've got this equatorial sort of climate, which
yes,
gives us the vitamin D sun as opposed to what we have here. What we get here in
yes.
the summer is heat. Okay, it's
Yeah,
just
you don't get the
oh
light.
God. We
It is the
don't. Yeah,
vitamin D. It is the
yeah,
vitamin D. You only have to go for a walk 10 or 15 minutes in
yeah.
the sun here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a walker,
Mm-hmm.
so I get my vitamin D, and
Yeah.
and the English people suffer for that.
Yeah, yeah,
But
we do. We need,
yeah,
we get vitamins by taking these vitamins tablets and all of that. But
mm.
hey, welcome again, Catherine.
Hey ho,
Oh,
yes.
yes.
Thank
So,
you.
welcome to our viewers. Thank you so much for joining these podcasts. We said we will be running these quite regularly to try and ramp up the mood ahead of the King's birthday parade, which is this Saturday, the 15th of June. So these conversations are especially highlighting the great work our royals are doing. And this particular one here, we are going to be talking about Catherine, Princess of Wales. She is such a superpower royal. What has she done at the palace that her counterpart did not do when she was a serving royal, Catherine? Welcome to this podcast. So, yes, yeah. I- it's the overarching question of the episode. But why not start with that big question? Why is Catherine such a superpower at the palace?
Well, I believe,
Mm,
and thing that Prince William did was, there's someone from Chantel Martin. Hi, I'm in Sydney. Hi from Sydney. She's hi from Australia. Hi, Chantel. Successive William and Catherine's relationship, it goes back to the beginning. And William, when they decided this was it, and then they got back together after they broke up.
Yes.
She's in Cairns. Oh, she's in the.
Yeah, yeah. Hi, Chantel. Hi, Cindy. If you're still here, great to see you both. Thank you so much. Yes, for joining us.
And this is where I believe Meghan.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
They don't necessarily run on ahead of everyone. And he reassured Catherine from their engagement that her family was going to be important to him and that he was going to include them in everything. And we saw that in his darkest days when he looked to the Middletons for some normalcy in what was very dark. So that just the bullet point of why I believe what they did different and what I believe is the secret of their success.
Absolutely. You're very, very right. And I agree with you because I think that ties in well with, sorry, Chantel, we keep freezing out. So I think
Yes.
we're having real weather issues, I think, today. I don't know if it's on my
Okay.
side or it's on Catherine's side that is
Well,
freezing.
yeah, everything is pretty stable here right now.
Yeah,
And we had a storm last night, but everything's calm today.
yeah, yeah.
So we'll keep an eye on that, Chantel. Thanks for alerting us.
We will do indeed. Thank you, Chantel.
Yeah.
Yes. So, yeah, that ties in well with because you talked about William, promising Catherine that the family will very much be felt welcome and, and all of that sort of thing. And he has kept his word. The royal family have actually kept in touch with the Middletons from day one. They are still very much in touch. Catherine goes over with the kids every now and then.
Mm.
They always come to Balmoral. So they are very much in touch. Just exactly what William promised. And that really ties in well with what I was going to say about what makes Catherine a superpower is the support system that she has. Very, very strong support system. Um, Catherine has really, really, just like you said, supported William through those very, very difficult and dark times. Right from the get go when they were still in their relationship, Prince William
Mm.
at the Sandhurst Army Training Center for the officers, and how that course was extremely tough for Prince William, to take on. And Catherine, Princess of Wales, who was, the then girlfriend at the time, was very supportive in, telling William, "Come on, you will go through this. You're doing well. You're fabulous." And you could say that even on the day that William passed out as an officer at Sandhurst, and that sort of smile that William gave to Catherine in the crowds was sending a message out there that you have very much been part of this journey. Your support hasn't gone unrecognized. And it is the same support system that we have seen come through all these years of 11 years in their marriage. when the Queen was not feeling very well, who was there to support William through this? It was Catherine. But not even just the giving support to William, but also the Queen. She's very supportive in the palace, supportive of everyone. She puts herself forward to give everybody that needs the help, in going through those daily activities in the palace, from cooking to taking photographs to making sure everybody is happy. So I think her support system here makes her a superpower in the palace. And we don't have to look far away to see this support. Just look at how they tie in well out on engagements, and they are a force to reckon with each time they step out together. So I think that's another very, very powerful reason for, that accounts for why Catherine is who she is at the palace. And contrasting that to her counterpart, Meghan Markle.
Yeah.
What do you say about, her failing to sort of be supportive, to husband Prince Harry through these very times that they broke off or broke away from the royal family? Do you think she should have, instead of pulling her husband away, she should have actually supported him more to remaining and sorting out all of these differences?
That's actually quite a good question, in light of the way Prince William and Catherine have handled themselves. And I mean, they're human beings. Everyone makes mistakes. No one expects them to be perfect. And in fact, when you trip up a little bit, people love it. The thing with Catherine is, when she came out after the birth of Prince George, everyone loved the dress she wore because she didn't try to hide herself. She is so authentic. Everything she does is just, I don't know, she's just pitch perfect. Now, with Meghan, I can only go on observable behaviour and what we read in the press. My opinion is based on having watched the show Suits, and I didn't. Long before Harry and her were in the news, I did not like the actress. I thought she was so bad, and it was like we were watching Meghan. And I'll just leave it there. I could say a lot more, but I'm just going to leave it there. I didn't like the actress at all. So when Harry became involved with Meghan, I thought, he couldn't have chosen a more different woman. He could not have chosen a more different woman. And whereas Catherine wanted to support William, she wanted to be there for William. She's very humble. She has an ordinariness about her that people just love. And it's because she's not aristocratic like Diana was. She is what the British call a commoner. But Meghan wanted the aristocratic life. She wanted something very different from this equation.
Absolutely. The stars. Okay.
And I believe that was the mistake. Harry and the Queen, apparently, according to reports, insisted that she invite her family, but she didn't.
She did.
And yeah, so what I don't know. That's where I think it all. That's where the rot set in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very down to earth, Catherine is. She's
Mm,
very
mm,
very relatable, as
yeah.
you have said. I mean, I worked for the royal family as a Queen's Guard, and I used to see Catherine come round to our battalion to inspect us during St. Patrick's Day, because the husband was the Colonel-in-Chief of the Irish Guards. So they would come round, put the shamrocks on our uniforms, and all of that sort of thing. But you could see Catherine, a very natural, down to earth. Everything that she does is not pretense.
Mm,
It is how it is supposed to be done. And the interactions she used to have with us, on a one-to-one basis, the sort of interactions your mom or your father or your sister could have with you, very natural conversations. She could start with something as easy as joking about the weather. The weather today is terrible. Stepping out this morning, I felt a bit, but I had to step out, because that's what you
mhm,
do when you love what you do. The sort of things all of us do on a daily basis. And that really makes her a superpower, because we relate with her so much. Whereas we can't, or we couldn't relate with Meghan Markle. Look at the guests that Meghan Markle invited for her wedding. Some of these she would never have even got chance to be with, you know. But because she married into the royal family and she wanted to show the world how great she is and all of that, she she sidelined her own people who would have actually made a difference attending that
mm.
ceremony, and invited people she had never even talked to. The George Clooney's, the lineup is very long, you know. So you could say,
It was ridiculous. It was really people just. I think people were scratching their heads about that even on the day.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So when you talk about that likability for Catherine as a result of who she naturally is as a person and how she was actually made for this role right from the onset. I totally agree. And it took her 10 years. Is it 10 years to get married in the royal family? Now, that tells us that she wasn't so much in a rush, to get in. She wanted to first look at herself as a person, okay, to see whether she actually could take on the responsibilities of being a future queen, okay, to fully understand the royal family, the norms, the customs, okay, to learn and take advice from her then boyfriend, Prince William, on what it feels being in a palace, on a daily basis, and how could she then come out as that person who could actually be seen as an accomplished royal coming in
Mm.
from outside. So I think all of these have turned this beautiful woman into a superpower she is in the palace, as opposed to Meghan, who, how long did they date before she jumped into this marriage? We could
Oh,
count six, was it even 6 months?
it was
I think
less than a year.
it was less than a year, and there she
Mm,
is.
mm,
What does that tell us? She was very
mm.
fame hungry, power hungry. She saw this opportunity and she thought, I can't even wait a second, you know. Hiya, Lisa.
Mm,
Hi, Lily.
mm,
Hi, Nina.
mm,
Great to have you all on this show. Thank you so much, guys. And we appreciate your interactions in the comments section below there. I think Lisa says, I think the time the two couples are together before jumping into
mm.
marriage was a huge factor in the failure to every single from Meghan. Absolutely. Absolutely. That couldn't have been any right than it is, you know. So that time, they took their time to fully understand what it means being a royal couple and the responsibilities each of them had to take on, you know, and how huge that role was. And because Catherine was into this relationship for love and not for money, not for fame,
Yeah.
these responsibilities, Catherine was going to be ready to take them on, stay in there, come rain or shine, in thickness, in difficulties and great times. And that's what she has done. Okay. Compared to her counterpart. Do you agree with that, Catherine?
Oh, I completely agree. Catherine wasn't in a hurry. I mean, she's a human being, she's a woman. And when you see your man, they say the woman is the one that makes the selection.
Hmm.
When you see your man, you know, that's it. He doesn't really stand much of a chance. And I'm
Hmm.
not talking about aggressively pursuing, but once a woman knows who her man is, that's it. The
Hmm.
rest just needs to play out. But she
Absolutely.
was not in a hurry, and I believe that they had different priorities. That is really clear. And I mean, for people who are just coming in, we were talking about Catherine with the Trooping of the Colour coming up because we want to make sure she is still here,
Yes,
and we're
yes,
talking about her
absolutely. Keep her
with
burning.
love and affection.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think the thing is, Meghan thinks she knows better,
Mm,
whereas Catherine was willing to
to
learn.
learn. That was key.
That's the difference. Meghan, I she has. I'm not a professional, okay. I'm just making an assessment based on observable behavior, but she appears to have some kind of personality disorder, and she has some oppositional personality disorder because if you say it's sunny out, she'll say it's raining. So, but Catherine's different. Catherine listens. You can tell when she's out on the walkabouts,
Engagements,
she
yeah.
listens. She listens, Meghan does.
Mm, absolutely. And 100%. Hi, Michelle. How are you? Great to see you on the show. Chantel, that didn't work out for her, did it? Absolutely didn't. Yeah, thank you all for keeping the comment section burning and for staying here
Mm.
on the show. Uh, Catherine, our special guest here, very, very knowledgeable royalist, and she is based in Australia. If you're not following her, she's on Twitter as Arroyoliota. Yeah,
A royal, all
Iota.
one word. Iota,
Iota.
the word iota. It's actually, I'm going to be cheeky.
Yes. Yeah. 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 Hmm. So, excuse us for the sound, our dear friends in the comments section. It's a bit of a weather problem, I
Mm.
think, in Australia at the moment. Oh, I don't know if it's here, but we are uh, hoping the sound gets better as we go along. But yes,
I'm just looking. Yeah, go on.
mm.
Yes, continue.
Yeah.
Sorry, Francis. I was
So,
just checking the weather.
yeah. But yeah, I agree with you, that Meghan wasn't really into this for the love or for the real genuine interest of wanting to come and make a difference. Because if she really did, there is no place in the world that you would make a difference than being a member of the British royal family, because they have that huge platform, to make a difference. And for Meghan Markle, obviously, to come in and go out in less than is it 48 months, well, real work was just a year, shows that she wasn't into this genuinely. She had her own interests, and when she got that title, got that prince under her belt, she said, I can go and use this to make my own money outside. Okay. And Catherine, you mentioned something very, very important, that she actually, as Catherine is modeled, she has modeled herself, okay, to the royal family. She's willing to learn, okay. She has grown into somebody who is actually comes across as if she was born a royal, It's because she has allowed herself to be molded to the royal family and become like them, okay? Believe in the things they do. Whereas Meghan Markle came across as somebody who was fighting against the institution, okay, fighting against the institution, and she thought she could use her education uh, to highlight things that she thought the royal family was doing wrong, and uh, just to try and fight against this very institution that had given her a platform. Okay, these two women here, Catherine, Princess of Wales, and Meghan Markle, when they arrived, these meetings were taking place in the palace. And I know this because, of course, I served for the British
Okay.
royal family. These conversations were always there behind the scenes for how they were going to carve out roles for each one of them. Okay, and they were giving out these roles based on strength and passions and interests and all of that sort of thing. Catherine, Princess of Wales, made herself available for that new role that had been carved out. So they saw she had a strong passion for young children, okay, for women. And then her interest in mental health issues and all of that sort of thing. And they carved out these early years role. The foundation, she is very much spearheading, very, very successful. And she has never looked back. And when Meghan arrived, okay, so they thought, all right, so we can also maybe uh, send her into the direction of Commonwealth, because she is advocating for equality, women, leadership, education, and all of that sort of thing. So they thought, okay, let us give you that Department of Commonwealth. You and husband Prince Harry drive that, and we see how you get on with it. But what happened? They ran it down. On their first trip to Australia, everything starts to go wrong. And Meghan gets there and she thinks, oh, are we getting paid for this trip? We had the potential to
I
make
know.
money, you know, forgetting that these roles are carved out and given to them, not for their gains, okay? They were not going to be paid, but for the interest of communities, communities and making a difference. Being an ambassador for the royal family and communicating these messages to the communities out there. So again, it brings us back to Catherine having had that real genuine interest
Yeah.
of wanting to come into the royal family with love, compassion, and help the royal family drive that agenda. As opposed to Meghan, who thought, I'll go in, marry a prince, get very rich and famous, and then use that to create my own businesses. And, and we can see that right now, because what is she doing now? We have this jam. What is it called? Orchard Riviera jam. She's
Oh.
product and the branding of it and using the royal insignia even when she's not supposed to do that. Duke and Duchess of Sussex, every message she sends out, whether it's a private message, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, she stopped being a royal. Why do you then have to carry along these titles on every piece of letter you write out? Okay, very telling of how she was looking for just that one thing. Okay, and that is why our Catherine, Princess of Wales, stays a superpower. That's why she's in the hearts of so many people out there. And we remember her even right now when she is going through such a difficult time, that she is still very much part of these celebrations that are leading up to the King's birthday parade. And we know we miss her so much, and we are looking very much forward to seeing her. Okay. And when we talk about these two ladies as well, I think Catherine's strength of character is very pronounced, isn't it?
Yes, I believe the problem William has is it's a good problem to have. People are annoyed with them because they can't control them. They're going to control the message. Her health is priority, and they're going to get through this the best way they can. But they do things their own way. Now, that showed with their structure. I believe the children's upbringing is very structured, and Catherine and William are really hands-on, which shows. And in the beginning, when they went to visit Australia, they took baby Prince George with them.
Oh, yes.
And I mean, he was an absolute hit. He was called the Republican Slayer. And the way he patted, I can't recall the name of this animal, and then
what's the name?
This is a strange name, Vilkin or
it was
something.
yes, the
and then they
Australian.
gave him a fluffy one. They gave him,
Yeah.
and then he took it and threw
He
it
took
away.
it, threw it away. Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
it just like everyone just relates to that.
Yes.
But you can't compete with the heir to the throne if you are going to do things completely outside, especially Meghan, but Harry too. They want to.
It isn't. Mm. Mm.
And everyone thinks, oh, Harry, Meghan, they've got a free run. Well, enjoy it while it lasts, because when she gets back, that lady, Catherine, the Princess of Wales, will break the internet. She has become the
Oh,
most
yeah.
famous
Oh,
person, the
she
most
will.
woman rather in the world.
She will. She
Yeah,
will break
yeah,
the internet, and
yeah.
she is. And you know the thing with Catherine again, you said this earlier, is she is an all-round good woman. You know, in every
Mm,
corner, she has a way
mm,
she has mastered this job, and
mm.
she sometimes surprises us. And I think I say this quite a lot. When you look at her model of how she's doing her work, sometimes she comes across as Queen Elizabeth used to do, you know, the same sort of character. Just when we think, oh, we know a lot about her, and she surprises us, you know, she comes up with something. So, and then we discover, oh, there is a huge amount we don't know about her, you know.
It's such a good insight, Francis.
It is very, very exciting. Look at how she played that piano the other day.
Oh,
Was it on a Christmas carol service? And
yes.
she
Oh,
played that piano perfectly, and she
mm,
was it Together at Christmas, that song she did, very
mm,
beautiful. We didn't see that coming. We didn't. And see how she sort of created this positive energy around Christmas at the time. This is what people love about Catherine. And she has so much strength, you know, as a woman. Can you imagine? She's raising a future king in George.
exactly.
She's married to a heir to the throne. So she's looking after two kings, and she is having to do her work in the palace, driving those early years projects, you know, and she's having to show up, you know, at events and support her husband on those double engagements. And for a mother with three children, and many people will think, okay, she has nannies, there's, you know, in the palace and all of that stuff. But I was in that palace before. I know how Catherine is very hands on with her
Mm,
children,
mm,
and
mm,
William as well. They are very
mm,
hands on. They do everything a mother would do for their children in her role as a future queen.
mm.
Okay, I think.
You're right. She
Okay.
she's forged her own path.
Oh, she has.
Yeah.
She has. Yeah, let's take this time to acknowledge once again our viewers here, Lisa, Claire. Thank you guys. You for Michelle, Chantel, Lily Page. Thank you, all of you on this live stream. You are so marvelous. And can you imagine the dishes breaking in the morning, Sitowin? Of course. I wish I would pull up these comments and put them up on on the screen here.
Yes.
Can you do that on your side, Catherine? I don't think you can. Yeah.
Little things we can do, but at the moment we're
We are
trial
limited. Yeah, we
trialing.
are
Yeah, but
trying, and of
you
course, we
know,
are doing this inside this live stream inside a YouTube app, which is sort of
yeah,
limited on what we can
yeah.
do. But as we go along, we probably figure out how to use third-party apps, and
Oh, we'll become so
yeah.
professional. Our agents will be ringing nonstop.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But
But
Lisa McGrift makes a very good point about
mm,
feeling uncomfortable when the Waleses travel with their children. But did the Queen put a stop to that? What's the story with the way they travel with their children?
Okay, so of course, it was always going to be very challenging, traveling
Mm,
with their children, and these children were still very little. And there is a lot that goes into these foreign trips, these visits, from security to clothing to, transportation to accommodation. There's a lot. And every single royal, of course, has got to have their own arrangement,
mm,
and that would put a strain on these young royals. Let us not forget William and Kate, have fully come into this role at a very young age. You know, Catherine, when she married her sweetheart, was she 29 years? So you could see that she was still very young. So having to go out on that foreign mission, with children, I think would take
mm,
a lot of, it would come across as very challenging for them. So
mm,
they thought maybe they limit those travels with young kids.
mm.
Um, we'll just look at events they've had to take their children along with them here in the UK, and how it can be a challenge to keep Prince Louis, for example, at bay,
Well, I mean, I raised four sons. I had four children under 5 years of age. It
Mm,
was chaos. It was nonstop. It was a
absolutely.
nonstop rumble, you know.
Mm, mm,
So I admired her greatly, the way she handled Louis when they were sitting there and everyone could watch, and he's pulling at his mother and he's
yeah.
kissing her, and she was so patient.
Mm,
She was incredibly patient and loving. Oh, I mean, what mother didn't relate to her in that moment?
absolutely. And Catherine as well, I think, benefits from her physique, her body. She's a very strong woman. Okay, she
Yes.
loves to exercise, so that helps with her mental fitness and well-being. She loves running. I think you know that she has ever climbed one of the highest mountains in Western Europe with her father
Oh,
back in the days. Is she, what mountain was that? Is it, don't know, she
I'm
climbed
not.
one of, yes,
I'm not sure.
she went with her dad, the 2014, and climbed one of the highest peaks in Western
Of
Europe.
course she did.
And so she is very, very strong. And you see how she is very competitive, with her husband when they go on those activities out on engagement, whether it's running, riding, cycling, rugby, and all of that sort of thing. So that also has prepared her to be strong mentally and to be resilient, because resilience is very key to succeeding in the royal family. I
Mm,
mean, and this is something that clearly Meghan Markle didn't have, the lack of resilience. Now, I know that we always criticize, Meghan Markle for failing to live up to, the standards of the royal family. Okay, it isn't a very easy job. It's not an easy job. Many people think it's bed of milk and roses and all of. It's not. Okay, and if you're not dedicated or you're passionate, if you're not having a genuine interest, you can't take on the challenges that come with being a royal wife. And Megan clearly lacked that resilience. When things got tougher, she could have, had a bit of mental health
mm,
issues, as she
mm,
told us, because of maybe the volume of work that she saw lying ahead of her, and the royal protocol she had to follow, and all those little small things she had to be on point. But she didn't do herself any good. She wasn't open to learning, just like Catherine, Princess of Wales, was. she had a very good team around her. Meghan did. That team was given to her by the royal family to show her how to do things, how to go about doing this and that. But she wasn't a good listener. She instead came across as I know it all, and instead wanted them to take her orders. So she didn't help herself at all. And that's what makes Catherine really a superpower, because she did just everything as it was supposed to be, from listening to wanting to learn to being very supportive of her husband, to being a good wife, a good mother. Okay. And also, you said this, knowing her role, knowing where she sat in the royal family, because I think that was very important.
Well, I think, see, my opinion is humility is not easily found, and everyone's. And I put a post up on my TikTok. Will she be there? In my opinion, and it's only my opinion based on my observation of her, she won't. Even if she were fit enough to do so, I believe this is what would stop her. She'll break the internet, and it's the King's birthday weekend. It's not about Catherine. And I believe because her and the King have a very good relationship. She's on good terms with her father-in-law and the King. And I don't believe she would want to take the spotlight off the King. And if she turned up on the balcony, I just feel it's going to be all about Catherine, and everyone for weeks on end are going to be talking about Catherine and not the King. And the King's not well, people when he's out and about and showing some resilience and fortitude and stamina, because that's not easy. I think he had radiotherapy, if my reports are correct that I've read, which is a little easier on the patient than chemotherapy. But to me, based on my observation of her persona, her character, she won't want to take the limelight off the King. It's just not in her to do that. And she knows it would. She knows it would. And now she may not be ready anyway, but even if she were ready, I just don't feel she feels this would be the right time to make her presence. Yeah.
I certainly
What are
think,
your thoughts?
I would think so as well. I mean, it would have been nice, okay, to see her, okay, come and give us a wave, on the day. But again, comes down to her, I think, not being fully fit to do that, because as I said the other day, it takes a lot of preparation. It's not just her coming out to give a wave. She's not going to come with her blanket and hello and goes back. She's going to have to travel all the way from Windsor to come down to London. And the dressing up, the linking up with the fashion, the makeups, and all those people who are going to make her look, great for the day. So she would be in touch with so many people, lots of interactions, which I think would still put a lot of pressure on her at this point in time when she is still recovering. So it is only ideal that she sits this one out. We know we have her. She has already done the work for us. We know she is. She when she's ready, she will still come and do a great job. But also wanting to take that spotlight. She's one of those that we know has never, never even had a thought of taking anybody's spotlight. So she wouldn't want to come actually on that day and try and swab that away from the king. This is the king's day. So that is another very important point you have raised there. And again, it feeds in well into what she's going through with us not having seen her for a long time. So if she comes out, the headlines would probably go away from the King's birthday parade to Catherine makes her first balcony appearance since her diagnosis. And that would, of course, overshadow the King's big day. But the other thing I think is it's good to have wishful thinking. Okay.
Oh, well, of course,
Okay.
of course. Do
It's
you know, do you have any reliable reports in the press that you would refer to that the children will be present? William will have his children there?
okay. So we haven't had those reports out
Okay,
yet. I think the palace here
okay.
the palace is being very careful not to sort of put out a lot of reports and information to sort of derive more questions from people, and and all of that. And don't forget, we also have general elections looming here in the country.
Mm,
So we've just had a national debate between the two leading parties, the Conservatives and the Labour Party, go head to head
mm.
in a live TV debate. And
Okay.
we know that the royal family, in one of the last communications they put out there, said that they will be sort of limiting communications and taking over this whole situation of the media and all of that, because they want to give that attention to the elections. They want people to get more involved in the election. So if at all there is anything that is coming, it should just be around the general elections we are going to be uh, going through on the 4th of July. So I think the palace is being very careful not to put out lots of messages that are going to be driving attention away from the general election to anticipating what's going to come with Catherine, with the king, and all of that sort of thing.
That's actually a really good point you raise. Um, do you think that uh, the elections, and elections are always fraught with all sorts of activities around it that, feed the news cycle, that feeds the beast.
Mm.
Has the or have the elections had any impact on the public mood in respect to the Trooping the Colour, or are they enthusiastic about it? And what's your thoughts? Is the public's attention divided, or are they looking forward to the Trooping the Colour?
So
What's your thoughts?
I think they've actually helped because they've taken
Okay.
away that scrutiny and the asking of so many questions to the royal family with when is Kate coming back, what's going on, we want this update,
Mm,
to actually engaging people in political conversations. Okay, what is your party going to be delivering to us? The
mm,
tax
mm.
cuts, the austerity, and uh, the national insurance and all of that stuff. So it has, in a way, they have actually helped to sort of give our royals a break.
Well, they need
To
it.
breathe,
Yes.
yes.
Mm,
And we had
mm,
we had D-Day recently, remembering all the soldiers who served us, past and present, and the king stepped out there, of course, to commemorate this big day, and that was great because every time the king steps out there, he is sort of testing the moods of people. How are they reacting to the king being out there? Remember those demonstrations a few months ago uh,
Yeah,
after
yeah,
King Charles had being coronated, and people coming up with these posters, "You're not my king," and all of that sort of thing. So these events that have we've just had recently, and the king stepping out, and the king's
mm,
diagnosis with the cancer, and now Catherine, Princess of Wales, have actually drawn people to actually sympathize with the royal
yeah,
family,
yeah,
and it's worked out well. As I said
mm,
yesterday, this is only a wave that is also going to go. These challenges, the health issues where the royal family is going through, uh, Meghan and Harry, pulling the royal family apart. These are just challenges that the royal family is going to overcome, just like they've overcome all those big storms in the past. Okay.
yeah. Well, the
Mm,
royal family have been through worse. It's. I mean, the situation is challenging.
mm.
No one would dispute that. But the royal family is still here. It's been
Yes,
here. It's still standing. It's
is
still
it?
here,
Mm-hmm.
and can't say I've seen a lot in the news here in Australia about the Trooping the Colour. I mean, and I am paying attention. They're more interested in what's going on with Catherine, the Princess of Wales.
Mm,
That's my reading of the situation, and that's on a channel that is favourable to the royals, which is Sky News.
mm.
I can't say that there's anything coming through
With regards
because
to the
we've got
trooping.
no, not a
Mm,
lot, not a lot
mm,
at all. If there is anything, it's mainly on Sky,
mm,
and if anyone in the chat in Australia have any links to other sources that you might want to refer me to, please do in the chat. I'll follow
mm,
that through.
mm,
But I
mm,
haven't seen much,
mm, mm,
and because of the trooping and because of Catherine, they do report on the Sussexes,
mm,
but it's generally, which brings me to a question I want to raise with you. Um, it's generally negative, what PR stunt have they pulled now? Now, recently we heard some report of the possibility.
mhm.
Oh, come on, I feel like the gossip queen over coffee now. I'm talking behind my hand. What do you think? Did you hear this on the grapevine? Well, that there's a possibility of a third child. The Sussexes, but remember when she
Mm, mm, mm,
the Princess of Wales
mm,
trust, she just competed with
mm,
him. What do you think of this headline of the Sussexes? Do you think they're just trying to overshadow the trooping and take away from what's going on with all of that? Because everyone is obsessed with Catherine, negative or positive. Look at us.
mm.
What are your thoughts? I mean, there is talk. I saw a headline this morning about it. Again, it's not. I don't know if it's gaining any traction though. What are your thoughts?
It hasn't gained so much traction here because people are
Mm,
now starting to sort of they know they now know that these two now are very unpredictable. I mean sorry, they are predictable, if that's the word. Now you sort of know what they are going to do, and um, they always want to have that audience. They want to overshadow
mm,
activities. They're always thinking about what they could come up with to drive attention onto them, because they know that the royal family right now, and the trooping of the color, of course, Catherine's and the King Charles's, health and all of that stuff, is what people are more interested in, and that has now sort of put them on the back burner. So what
Yeah.
Meghan and Harry are always thinking about behind the scenes, scratching their head, what else are we going to put out there to sort of bring that attention back to us? The other day, they were already talking about their trip to Ghana and blah, 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 after they had a successful unofficial visit to Nigeria, which wasn't at all. I mean, we know that because the Nigerian president and the first lady had that message, which wasn't very good for Meghan and Prince Harry. And now they're already talking about this Ghana visit and trying to sort of stay relevant, stay out there, at least in the papers. And the Ghana president came out recently and said that we don't know about that visit and we haven't even sent any invitations. There isn't anything like that I'm aware of. That's what the Ghana president said, So again, that turned out to be another PR story. So their PR machine, the Sussex PR machine, is working so hard to make sure that they have those stories constantly coming out to have that attention on them because they know they feed off that attention whether it's good or bad, and we know most of the time it is bad. But I think for Meghan and Prince Harry, they don't care about that. All they want is their name out there. So that story there
Well, yeah.
is another one that I think is just coming through the corridors of the Sussex PR machine to try and keep us hooked. But I don't think they will succeed. Chantel Martin, thank you again for joining us. And let's see, what did she write there? She didn't want to put in the effort, time actually. Of course, she didn't. And how could she expect to succeed when she didn't really have the interest of putting in that much needed hard work? Throwing hot tea, the Governor General's housekeeper, to the Queen, absolutely. So you can't say that the Sussexes. And I think when we come here and speak the way we do about the Sussexes, many people would sit there probably and say, oh, but why are they criticizing them? Why are they talking about them all the time? It is because we are concerned with their behavior, because it is very damaging, not because for them they don't care, but it is damaging to the royal family, especially as they still carry those royal titles. Okay. So we have to constantly call out that behavior with hope that they will change and start, promoting greater causes that are going to actually be glorifying the name of the royal family out there. But at the moment, they are not doing that. And so we have every right to call them out. Okay, until they say, we have handed over these royal titles. We have now gone our way. We are Harry, Meghan, and not Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Then we will leave them alone. Okay. Uh,
Recently, I watched on it was the ABC on the ABC app, a royal documentary, and there were two parts to it. And we get into the second part, and it's before the passing of the Queen, so it's a few years old. But they showed the tour of, and I'm responding to a comment here by Lisa, right? Lisa McGriff.
Yeah.
And they showed the tour in Australia of the Sussexes. And my God, it was so polished. You wouldn't have thought there was anything going on behind. One YouTuber who worked in the PR industry said no leaks ever came out of the palace until Meghan joined it. Shallon Lester, I think her name is, and she worked in PR, and she said, you never got any leaks out of Buckingham Palace or the royal family, nothing. She said all the leaks began, it became a leaking ship when Meghan joined the family,
absolutely,
right?
very capable.
So, well, then look at this curation of their tour. That was
Okay. Mm-hmm.
throwing of the hot tea.
Mm-hmm.
With her, so they could just go off and do their own thing. And then the mocking curtsy of the. There are just some things that people can't forget that they've done. And I believe we are within our purview as royalist commentators online. You know, we're just doing our little thing in our little corner of the internet. And we have every right. And they cannot have a privacy world tour and expect look in with their magnifying glass like Inspector Gadget. We're going to do that.
Absolutely.
You know, they deserve the scrutiny.
They do 100%. Nobody has ever mocked the Queen in her entire reign and actually stayed positive in people's thoughts. That has never happened. That was the last coffin in their nail. And for Prince Harry to sit there and just look at Meghan Markle doing that and say nothing is the day most people lost hope in Harry. Now, the royal family and the people here could forgive, Harry on the surface, but I don't think they will ever accept him back fully and trust him the way they did before that dreadful, union of theirs.
You're right. You're right. I believe they will forgive if he seeks it, but he will never be returned to public life in the way it was. He cannot. He's burnt a lot of bridges, but that mock curtsy was
just.
I don't think people knew what to say when they witnessed that. People, you could feel a collective holding of the viewer's breath, it was so shocking.
Very, very shocking, to a woman who welcomed her, who loved her so much. Remember that first engagement, Queen Elizabeth stepping out with Meghan. I think they were visiting a place in Windsor somewhere. And the Queen rolled out a blanket, for Meghan in the back of the car. You could see that the Queen had all the love and had fully welcomed, this woman. And for her to turn out in the way she did and go in front of the national television in this Oprah Winfrey and say whatever she did is unforgivable. And all of these lies, and implicating the Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby for, by saying that what we saw was not the real wedding, that the wedding happened before, and and making an archbishop appear to be a liar himself. All of those things really are things that the British public and indeed royalists around the world will never forget. And that is
Well,
why we are
what Meghan
talking
doesn't
about this too.
understand,
Mhm.
sorry to cut in,
Mm.
what Meghan
No, no,
didn't
you're right.
understand is how big the Queen's brand was. She was up there with the top three. Her brand was as recognizable as BHP and McDonald's, the Golden Arches. The Queen's brand was up there like
Mm,
this.
mm, mm.
And Meghan, she thinks, oh, I'm American. These royal rules, these royal protocols don't apply to me, even if I marry into this. Actually, they do. She has underestimated how much a lot of Americans like the
Love
royal
the royal
family
family.
and
Yes.
loved
Oh,
the
the
Queen.
Queen Elizabeth. Absolutely. I mean, when you look at our, followers, our watchers on here, royalists around the world who are commenting on my page every day, and my friends in the comments here, I think will also tell you that in United States, the royal family is one of those institutions they respect a lot. Now, I was reading a comment here. I think so. Lisa is telling us about the president of Ghana. Oh, yes, yes, indeed. I agree with you, Lisa. I do.
I'm glad it's been brought up.
Yes, yeah. And then Chantel Martin said another adoption on the way with that story of a third child. Yes, you could call it an adoption actually, because even the ones they have, no birth certificates and proof that they had those kids. So, there is a lot of controversy surrounding that, that family, the Sussex family, which is a shame really, because if people are going to connect with an individual or with you, they need to know who you are. They need to connect with your transparency. They need to be knowing, what you are exactly. But we don't seem to do that with the Megans, with the Harrys. Their children are always hidden away. They are not even bringing them to see their grandfather,
Mm,
who is in his late years, in his years of, where he actually uh, thrives from the joys of
mm,
being around
mm,
the grandchildren. Okay, anybody who takes away their children away from their grandfathers and grandmoms is horrible. Because
mm,
we know how much young children like their grandparents. So tell me
mm.
how people would connect with those two. How will they believe in what they say? Mm?
Well, the British royal family, their popularity with the public is built on trust.
On trust, on being able to, and that's why politics, people lost trust in politics and politicians and all over that. So that people have their safe space in the royal family. This is where they come and, spend time, find out what's going on and follow up on their activities because of the transparency. Okay. And, and that bit of uh, sort of compassion and hope they bring, as opposed to the politicians and their promises. So Meghan here is acting like another politician who has those selfish interests. So she puts up that fake smile. Okay, but there is something hidden behind that smile. And it does
Mm,
surprise me that she wanted to run for the office of the American presidency. I mean, we know these
mm,
stories with how she is behind the scenes trying to convince the Democratic Party to sort of nominate her as a candidate of some sort somewhere so she could run for the elections. And they know who she is, and I don't think they can ever put her up as a candidate, you know.
Well,
So
she'd have to give up her title. She can't. There'd be a public outcry if she tried to take public office holding her title. She can't do that. It's never been done in history, but there would be a public outcry. Americans are just as generous as a British public, and but if they tried to pull that one on the American public, they'd be finished. It's game over if they tried to do that.
it will be, yes, absolutely. And I think you've touched on a very good point, and I think that will bring us to probably the last thing we are going to be talking about: their royal titles. We will not stop calling their royal titles out. We won't. They will have to give up those titles if they are to engage in any meaningful politics in United States. That is it. You can't be a British royal and run for an office in United States. No chance. No chance. But also some of the businesses they are engaging in, like going on those sort of trips they've started going out on, and calling themselves the modern royals, and following the same sort of structure as the royals here follow when they're out on engagements abroad. Those things are totally wrong, and they shouldn't be conducting themselves in the way they are. Prince Harry inspecting the guard of honor, and walking the red carpet, and in the national anthem, God Save the Queen, King, and on private things that are meant to be, trips that are meant to be private visits. That is not acceptable. So let us see where these elections go here in the country. But I still think after we've gone through all this, the elections, and the new prime minister comes in, Meghan and Harry's royal titles, I think, is going to be a very, very big issue on the table for them to start seriously considering, and they will be actually, I think, making a very bold step and withdrawing those titles.
Interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. I look forward to what comes about with the royals after the election, because elections do suck the oxygen out of the room, no question about it. But people go, well, if they took the Duke and Duchess, took that away, then she'll be a princess, which is what she wants. But she's already got people calling her princess, and now she's got some Nigerian princess. I mean, that's like worth the paper it's written on, a Nigerian princess title.
Nigerian
princess. Could you be any more ridiculous? It's like, how many emails do you get in your inbox, with Nigerian scams? It's like, this woman, she just goes lower and lower.
I don't think she does. She knows what she actually wants, because a few years ago she was seriously searching for her Maltese heritage, and she said she was 65 or 55% Maltese, and she went down to Malta and such. So she's now forgotten all of that. She's now 43% Nigerian, and when she goes to Ghana, she'll probably tell them she is, 40% Ghana. She's another politician who has those sweet words to please certain people at a certain time, because she's looking for something, and once she gets that, she's gone. Okay. But very, very interesting conversations today.
It is. Well, particularly in light of Catherine. I mean, as you're saying, as we're coming to an end, we'll put her front and centre, because that's what we want to do. We want to keep her front and centre as a a very beloved and favoured royal. And looking at those contrasts between the two women and the two couples couldn't be. It's like night and day.
Absolutely.
It's
This
just,
was it.
yeah.
Lisa who said, was it Lisa or Chanel? Somebody said that you can't even compare these two because
No.
uh, uh, Catherine is just, she's not comparable. She's a class apart, and you
Mm.
can't. Meghan, who hasn't even, Meghan is considered is a D-lister or whatever she is, an actress in United States.
Mm.
How can you compare her with a woman who is so made for a role, a woman with such great compassion, young and old, woman who is very enthusiastic, very loving and caring to
Mm.
her husband. She knows the true meaning of family and how she has brought those family values from her own growing up and fed that into William's family. William growing up, of course, we know the sort of family, he had, and what William missed growing up, and Catherine has been able to provide this, and we compare her with Meghan. No chance, no chance. She is a superpower.
No,
Yeah,
no chance.
yes, yeah.
No chance.
But
All
yes,
right.
thank you so much,
Yeah.
Catherine, for your
Thank
lovely,
you.
thoughtful thoughts this evening. Well,
Mm.
it's morning where you are. I enjoy having you on this show.
Yeah. What time is it? It's 4 minutes past 7 here.
Okay,
So
it's very early.
yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah. Well,
apologies
I'm
for
an early
having to
bird.
apologies for having to pull you so early in the morning out of
Oh,
your bed. But
no, you get me at the best time. My energy.
it is, yeah.
Because I haven't done this before. You're the old pro here,
Oh
so I'm
yes,
following your lead. You've
yeah.
got a solid background. That's what I need to do.
And I could
So
show,
yeah.
before we go, I could show our viewers this photograph here. So that one is a photo.
Oh,
Yeah. So I remember this one here is that is my battalion. That is when I passed out as a Queen's Guard. It's a very
oh, how
important photograph.
wonderful!
Yes,
You have to have it on the wall.
yeah. So I'm here, right here. I don't know if you can see me properly there.
No, I can't. But
Okay,
I
so
can. Oh, yes, I can see now. Oh,
okay, yes.
wow.
So
Oh,
these photos bring back memories. So these were one of my highlights in the British Army as a Queen's Guard. This was 2009, and it was
that's
taken
not
with
that long ago.
no, so with some of my
Oh,
comrades, so all over these, most of them, we served with them, did all the Queen's birthday parades and the royal wedding. We had some wonderful time, and you realize
oh,
the forage caps we have, so they got different colors. So we have green there. We've got that is that grayish color. We've got red. We have
mm,
we
mm.
have red here. So these are the different battalions, different regiments: the Irish Guards, Coldstream, the Welsh Guards, the Grenadier Guards. But we all train together, and after training, then we are all sent to our individual regiments. But I thought I would share this. Yeah, beautiful, and
Oh,
that's why I'm here rallying for the long life of our British royal family, because they've done so much for communities out there, including myself here.
mm.
Okay. But
Okay. Well, thank you.
yeah,
And I know it's late there, so sweet
it's
dreams.
indeed
Yeah.
11 o'clock.
Yeah.
It is.
Mm.
So tomorrow is another day to get
Oh
some
God,
sleep in. So we are
yeah.
active tomorrow. But thank you
Yeah.
so much to our viewers here. Should we take some moment to recognize them?
Yes, please. Yes,
Yes,
please.
yeah, Lily, Paige, thank you. You always one of those that never miss these live streams. Lisa, is it Lisa McGriff? I don't know where Lisa McGriff is from. Is that Australia or United
She's
States?
from Cairns.
Okay,
Cairns, which is at the top end of Australia. It's up.
okay.
It's hot and tropical.
Okay, yeah, sending you greetings there, Lisa.
Mm.
So we've got Kat, we've got Chantel, Martin. Who else have we got here? Anybody you've noticed that I haven't? Claire, if you're still on. Who else have we got? Michelle, Josh, if you're still on. Nina. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you so much for being here with us on these podcasts. And we have lots and lots more coming up, with our wonderful Catherine here. Yeah. So, yes, have a wonderful one. Yeah. And you too. Indeed, we shall. Bye bye. Bye, everyone. Bye bye. Bye. Bye, everyone. Bye.